Do your homemade rolls go stale by the next day? Are you looking for the softest, fluffiest rolls ever? These might just be all that, and it's thanks to one special addition. Hi, friend, come on in. Rolls are such a lovely addition to a meal, perfect for soaking up extra gravy, making a small sandwich, or enjoying with a sweet dollop of honey. These rolls are light, tender, and decadent all at once. To start, I'm making a Tangzhong. This is a simple paste made from flour and liquid, in this case, milk and water. In my pot, I have a quarter cup each of milk and water and 2 tablespoons of flour. I'll whisk it together over medium-high heat until smooth, then lower the temperature as it thickens. You want to cook it just until it reaches about the texture of pudding or yogurt. Thick, glossy, and smooth. What this step does is pre-gelatinize the starches in the flour. Normally, flour can only absorb so much liquid, but when it's cooked like this, the starch molecules swell and trap extra moisture. That moisture stays locked inside the dough, giving your bread a smooth, fluffy texture that lasts for days instead of drying out overnight. It's a simple step that makes a big difference in freshness and texture. Once the Tangzhong has thickened, transfer it to a bowl to cool. To prevent a skin from forming, you can press plastic wrap directly onto the surface or go old school with a damp tea towel, which keeps humidity high and works just as well. While that cools, I'll get the rest of my ingredients ready. If you're using active dry yeast, add 2 teaspoons to your mixing bowl with half a cup of warm milk and let it sit for about 10 minutes until it's frothy. If you're using instant yeast, you can add it directly to the bowl with the other ingredients. This dough can absolutely be made by hand, but adding butter at the end can get a little messy. If you're okay with that, go for it. Otherwise, a stand mixer makes this much tidier. I am using instant yeast today. To my bowl, I'll add half a cup of milk, a quarter cup of sugar, 1 lightly beaten egg, 1 teaspoon of salt, and the 2 teaspoons of yeast. I'm also adding a tablespoon of honey. That part's optional, but it adds a nice depth of flavor. If you prefer less sweetness, you can skip it or reduce the sugar slightly. Give that a quick mix, then add 2½ cups of flour and the Tangzhong. The paste can be warm or fully cooled. Just make sure it's not hot or it might inactivate your yeast. Mix until the dough comes together. If it looks a little too wet or isn't cleaning the sides of the bowl, add more flour a couple teaspoons at a time, letting each addition fully mix in before adding more. You're looking for a soft, slightly tacky dough that holds together but doesn't stick aggressively to your hands. As the flour is getting worked in, I want to check it every once in a while to see how it feels, as in barely sticky. If it feels right, scrape down the sides to make sure there are no dry patches or stubborn bits of honey hiding on the sides. Let the dough knead for about 5 minutes to start developing the gluten. That's the structure that will hold in the gas as it rises and give the bread its shape. While it kneads, soften 4 tablespoons of butter until it's very soft, almost melted. Melted is fine too, just make sure it isn't hot. Add the butter 1 or 2 teaspoons at a time, allowing each addition to mostly incorporate before adding more. Once all the butter is in, scrape down the bowl, then let it knead for another 5 minutes. The butter will briefly weaken the gluten structure, so this extra kneading time helps rebuild strength and create that perfect pillowy crumb. Lightly oil a clean bowl or container and transfer the dough in. I like to round it into a smooth ball first, then place it seam side up. Roll it in that light coating of oil and flip it so both sides are coated. Cover with plastic wrap or a damp tea towel and let it rise in a warm, draft-free spot until doubled. Depending on your kitchen temperature and how warm your ingredients were, this could take 1 to 2 hours. My kitchen is around 67 Fahrenheit or 19 Celsius right now, so it took the full 2 hours. Once it's doubled, it's time to shape. This dough works beautifully as both a loaf or rolls. Today, I'm making rolls. This batch should yield about 9 to 12, depending on how big you make them. Divide the dough evenly. You can eyeball it or use a scale. Then round each piece into a smooth ball. Arrange them on a lined baking sheet or in a high-sided pan, depending on whether you prefer soft sides or more individual crusty rolls. Place them close together for soft pull-apart rolls or further apart for more defined edges. Cover again and let them rise until doubled, usually another 1 to 2 hours. When they're nearly ready, preheat your oven to 350 Fahrenheit or 175 Celsius. While the oven warms, prepare your wash. An egg wash gives shine and color. Yolk adds extra richness. Egg white gives just shine, and a milk wash gives a softer crust that expands beautifully before setting. I'm using milk today for that tender crust. Gently brush the tops before baking or leave them plain if you prefer. Bake for about 20 minutes, tenting with foil if you like a lighter color or baking higher in the oven to avoid too much browning. When they come out, let them cool for a few minutes, then brush the tops with butter. It softens the crust and increases that irresistible buttery flavor. If you want to add a touch of flaky salt, now's the perfect time as the butter will help it stick. These rolls are some of the softest, fluffiest you'll ever make. They are tender, buttery, and slightly sweet from the milk and sugar. They're a little more work than a standard roll, but the texture and flavor are worth every minute. They don't last long at my house. My kids devour them, especially after a big meal when we're working through leftovers. If you want something that pairs beautifully with these, check out my spaghetti video or my brown gravy stew. Both go perfectly with a soft, rich bread like this. If you love learning how to use your pantry to make meals come alive, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got more recipes and techniques coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today.